Spontaneous speaking video 56. Okay, so I have a little bit less than 30 minutes before class, and I just wanted to take a while to kind of give you guys a quick update. You know, it's March 1st, and also to pretty much let you guys hear about another thing that I've been kind of like thinking about. Not kind of, I've been already thinking about for a while that I feel like I've never really made an actual video for, but now it's very vital that I do so. And that is the importance of tact and tone. Before we get to that, I just want to like make this real quick announcement that like I said, I have more videos to come. I pretty much I don't like making promises that I'm not 100% sure that I can keep, but I feel like I could promise you guys that this month I will be definitely pulling out the SJ's Low-Key Suck video to complete the series so that I can start the new series of High Key Rocks, talking about all the types and everything. I'll also definitely be posting the Heart of an Evangelist video and everything, which some of the things I talk about here will kind of like glean into that. For all of you guys who want coaching and everything, and I've like been telling you guys like, oh, you know, I've been like a little bit busy. Thankfully, I'll actually be having my last day here at the library this Saturday. I put in my 2 weeks a couple weeks ago, and my last day will be March 3rd, and after that I'll have at least 12 hours more free throughout my week to, you know, like do homework or to coach you guys or to, you know, like a whole bunch of like, you know, just other stuff. And so thankfully, you know, like I'm gonna need the clients now, like if I'm gonna like keep food on my table and, you know, rent paid and all of that. So, but I love teaching you guys. I love, you know, like helping you guys. I love encouraging you guys. So there'll be a video on that too, in my 1,000 subscriber video, which I still have to do, but I just want to do it right. I want to have like a good time, and I'm definitely going to post that this month too. But yeah, that's a whole quick update. And all of that being said, we can move into today's topic, which I've already mentioned. It's the importance of tact and tone. Now, I understand already that there are going to be many people, especially those of you who know MBTI, a lot of TJs I know are going to be like no, like what the heck, like, or maybe even like also like just FITE users in general. They'll probably like be like, no, I don't understand the reason why you're trying to encourage me to use tact or whatever. They'll see it as like sugarcoating or, you know, stuff like that. And I think that tact is actually very important, and I understand once again that me being an FE Dom and then also an NI auxiliary, I'm incredibly sensitive to tone and to you know, the way that things are like being said. So I try to also like give people like benefit of the doubt in that way, but I just really see how much it could make a difference if we were to able to actually grasp, you know, the importance and the skill of tact and tone. So I actually posted a status maybe last year, a couple years ago, and I wanted to read it to you guys. Tact is an art, and tact that doesn't sacrifice truth but rather delivers it successfully and respectfully is a masterpiece. And before I even explain that, one of my great mentors, his name is Matt Bradner, he's an ENFP, he commented saying, so true, even the one who always said what was right recognized there were times to withhold words if the hearers weren't ready for them. Look at John 16 verse 12. And in John 16 verse 12 you have Jesus' words, it's in red. I still have many things to say to you, but you cannot hear them now. And it's kind of funny because I do that thing like all the time. Like, yo, like I'll tell you, like I'm a person who loves timing. Like there's a certain time and place and a certain way to tell certain information to certain people. And a lot of people feel like, oh, that's too much work and everything. But then at the same time, I feel like if they put in that type of work, they wouldn't get themselves into as much trouble as they usually do. They'd definitely be more persuasive. They wouldn't have to like demand things from people, but people would either just do things for them, like before they even finish asking, before they even ask, or just from the simple ask, like the act of asking. But yeah, as I said, in the status, tact is not necessarily changing the truth. And it's not, if we're really going with the analogy of sugarcoating, I think that if the truth is put in a form that people are more willing to digest and eat, then that's better than being in its raw form and either having to be forced down the person's throat or the person just simply doesn't decide to eat it. Isn't it better to have isn't it better to have like those gummy vitamins that has all of the nutrients or whatever that you need, or even those flavored medicines, like grape or strawberry, whatever type of medicine that you have. Isn't it better to have those and have your child like take those willingly and happily, as opposed to having a very bitter medicine that even though like it's strong and everything, then it still won't really like work, or like, it not necessarily that it won't work. The child will refuse to take it, or they'll spit it back up. I feel like tact is, like I said, it's an art of delivering the truth, in a fashion where the person will be able to more be receptive of it. And a lot of people fail to seem to like realize that. They think that because you may be actually considering the other person's feelings, how they may receive the truth, whatever the case may be, then you're sugarcoating it. You're tainting the truth. You're diluting it. I think there's a difference between diluting and just finding a proper way to deliver. And I actually wrote a blog about this, and you guys can check out the description to see, my blog website is DEEZY number 2 blessed.wordpress.com. That's DEEZY number 2 blessed.wordpress.com. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, I wrote a very short blog. It's called Fantastic Food Poisonous Platter. And pretty much what I was talking about was how I was on the train, and this man, and long story short, this African man came on the train in New York, and he was preaching to everyone. And they often do this type of thing, and I'll speak more about this in the Heart of an Evangelist video. But the man, although in my opinion, in my perspective, from my knowledge, he was speaking all true, all validity, all facts and everything, the way that he was presenting it was not receptive. Like everybody on the train, I even saw like a girl, she was like, "Mommy, what's he saying?" And then she like the mother was just like, "Just ignore him, honey." And it's like it doesn't matter if you're throwing truth everywhere if people are not accepting it. You have to have a balance. And I think that's why FE and TI work so well together. In my video where I talk about the 4 cognitive function axes, I talk about like how previously people thought that I was like crazy for saying like, oh, like your dominant and your inferior function like work well together and all of that. I feel like if you haven't learned how to let that happen, then you haven't developed, pretty much. And for those of you who don't understand like MBTI terminology, like I'll make it more simple. So just real quickly, FE in the shortest terms possible is called extroverted feeling, and it's pretty much like like about accommodation, about harmony, about getting people's needs met. It's very sensitive to tone and to like using tact and everything. While TI, it's like kind of like opposite in a way, is introverted thinking, and it's all about like accuracy, data, information, unbiased, untainted, like info, raw data, pretty much, truth. And they work together, as in FE and TI both want to be on the same page. FE wants to be on the same page when it comes to like social values and like harmony and pretty much like things like that, while TI wants to be on the same page when it comes to like data, information, truth, empirical knowledge, things like that. So when a TI user is known, TI users are usually known for like being like cold and like detached, like they're just like brutally honest, and people will not take the truth if you are telling it in a fashion that is not receptive. It doesn't matter how truthful you are if you are telling the truth in a fashion where like people are like, they're not going to hear it. And this man on the train, he was telling the truth, from like my truth at least, and people were not receptive to it because, first of all, this man was like yelling, "Excuse me," and like he was just saying all this stuff, and like he was even like speaking in tongues in between phrases. You don't do that in New York City, and all of this to say is that it's so important to balance truth with also the form that you're speaking it. So the reason why I even named that blog Fantastic Food but Poisonous Platter is that no matter how good the food may be, no matter how healthy the food may be, whatever, if it is served to you in a way that's poisonous, if it's served to you on like a very smelly plate, or in a fashion in which like you just aren't receptive to, that turns you off, you're not gonna want that food. And a lot of people, they have really great information, but the way that they deliver that food, the way they deliver that information is poisonous. In fact, it causes people to not even want to go near that food. Nope, I don't want whatever you have because you have an attitude, or you don't know how to like deliver it properly, But then if you learn how to properly like understand people are always more receptive to whatever you have to say if they know that you care about them. And if you care enough to do the most and actually consider their feelings and how they will receive the truth, you will be so much more persuasive. I'm serious. And this goes into, like I said, tone as well. I know in ISTJ, I know a few people, but this is mainly like an ISTJ that I know. We talk here and there, and she has a problem with tone. Like, she can be very dry, and lack of LOLs, stuff like that. And like sometimes even things like not even putting a question mark like at the end of a question, and of course like other people may say like, oh well, you're reading too deep into it. Like she says that, like, well, like that's not how I meant it. And it's like, well, it could be perceived in that way. There's a difference between, hey Denzel, what do you mean? And what do you mean? There's tone is so important because it shifts it shifts the way that a direction in which a conversation may go. And there's actually a Bible verse on that as well. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's in Proverbs, and it says that a calm word pretty much like brings like peace, but then a harsh word like stirs up like anger and stuff like that. I'll post the verse in the description box. But all of this to say that a lot of us need to learn how to use tact. I feel like it is absolutely necessary for a lot of us. Like, if you feel like that's like doing the most, then okay, you continue to do whatever you want to do. This isn't by force. But I think that there's a lot of benefit to actually learning how to phrase things in a better way that does not dilute the truth. It may take a little bit longer, slightly longer to get there or whatever, but sometimes that like guidance, that maneuver will actually allow that truth to be way more effective than it would have been if you just... Now there are times where you have to like be just a straight shooter and be like, hey, this is the deal. And some people can take that. Some people, they need that. Some people, you've used tact with them like so much or whatever, and they're just not picking up on it. Now it's like, hey, you know what? Psst, cool. There are times for that, but I feel like this video isn't necessarily to say that completely abandon the straight shooting methodology, but more to consider the usage of tact, to consider the benefits of tact and tone. Just try it for like a week or two. If you usually have a problem with like delivering the truth or just like speaking in general in a certain tone, then at least try that for like a week or two and see like the different type of responses that you'd get. Me as an FE dominant, as an ENFJ, I literally not only watch people do this, but I also like I practice it myself. And I've seen time and time and time and time and time again, like how my words, I could be using, like I could have the same message as another friend of mine, but the way that I would deliver it to the person, or the same request, the way that I would deliver it to a person, they're way more liable to actually like, like consider it, or even like be like, yeah, sure, Denzel, like of course I'll do that for you, or everything or whatever, than how the other person may have done it, because of the delivery itself allows people to actually be more receptive. So this is a spontaneous speaking video where I didn't do any editing. I didn't sit down and like write notes and all of that. This was literally like a ramble. And plus I have class in about, it's like 7 minutes. So I'm about to like rush over there right now. But yeah, I just wanted to really take the time to encourage you guys to use tact more often. Consider the benefits of it, and hopefully you understand. Leave your comments if you will, and done.